Hi guys, Mwega again, and this was game four. On day two, the I have the feed the elos recorded wrongly because I didn't have this game recorded because I lost my recording sheet. So I got this PGN from the chess results server, and they had not recorded the entire game because we also didn't finish the entire game recording because we got to a point where each person had like a minute on the clock, and we couldn't continue recording while still playing because we didn't even have increment in this tournament. So I didn't get my PGN. I didn't use my PGN to fill this up. I used the one on the chess results server. So the setting of the game. So I had completed day one with 2.5 points out of three, and I came into day two feeling really confident and I was keeping on telling myself that if I won the first game on day two, then I'd win the tournament. I was convinced that I was going to win the tournament after if I won this game against Kevin Jungu. So Kevin Jungu started with c4, and it seems that I've been facing a lot of c4s of late, and I used my usual system. Knight to f6, he played knight to c3, I played c6, and he transposed into a queen's gambit sort of opening. And I played d5, and we got into some sort of a Slav or semi-Slav, yeah, some sort of a semi-Slav opening where the usual ideas in the semi-Slav were played in this game. So he played his knight to f3, he played d6, completing the pawn chain that is common in the semi-Slav opening. So here, after playing bishop to f4, I had an idea of taking on c4, and we'd go into some sort of a Catalan line, but in this way it would have been better for black because I'd have one move, uh, like a move tempo. I'd be a tempo up, unlike the other Catalan openings, because here after g3, knight to d5, bishop g2, bishop e7, a4, a5, knight to e5, knight to d7, knight takes on c4. We'd have this position where black sits happily. Black can exchange his knight for the bishop here, and later on play something like b6 or b5 and bishop to b7 and activate our light square bishop on this long diagonal, challenging his. So black will have this sort of opposition where it's really a game. But in this I had not really I'd prepared some semi-Slav or Slav lines. I had not really looked into the Catalan that much, and I wasn't really confident in myself in playing this line to the end. I didn't even calculate it this far. I calculated only till around here, bishop e7, f5, and I thought, black has some play, white also has some play, but I wasn't really confident in my playing style in this opening. So instead of all of this, after bishop to f4, I played my knight to h5. We went bishop back to d2. I played my knight back to f6. Played his bishop to f4, and this was a silent draw offer. Played bishop back to d2, and after playing knight back to f6, he played his bishop to g5, and the game continued. Bishop to e7, e3, knight b d7, bishop e3. I took, I played b5, a6, the usual Slav ideas. After castles, e4. The idea in the Slav is to strike immediately with c5. Strike with c5, a move like, let's say this is played, develop our knight in this way. But here it looks so it looks so uncomfortable for black, but black is actually surviving this opening. So After e4, I was afraid to play c5 immediately, so I started with h6, pushed him away, and now played c5. Played e5. I played my knight to d5. We exchanged, and he played his rook to e1. So if you look at the position, white has some threats with this bishop staring into my king, and if he can find a way to coordinate an attack on my king side, I would be in trouble. Because if you look at because most of the time we attack where the pawns are facing, and in this position the pawns are all facing towards my king side. They have this sort of uh, attack on this direction, and if he coordinated an attack on that side, it will be extremely hard to defend because none of my knights can sit on f6, and if my knight goes to f5, he can just exchange it and continue with his attack swimmingly. So I was already starting to feel the pressure at this point because I thought he was trying to organize a very sinister attack on me. So I played my bishop to b7, trying to also bring my pieces into the game and coordinate something for myself. I played to c4, sort of an inaccuracy, but I thought I was just fine this position, because if his kingside attack doesn't work, then my pawns on the queen side, my pawn majority on the queen side will win me the game. So I played this bishop back to c2, and I played my knight to f5, queen e2, which was some sort of an inaccuracy. Uh, no, not queen e2, but my queen to c7 was the inaccuracy. I could have played maybe queen to e7, but potato potato, it's still almost the same thing. So I played my queen to c7, played his rook to d1, I played my rook to d8, and he played g4. Now g4, he took a long time calculating if g4 was working, and I had already started fearing g4. But as it turns out in this position, and it turns out as what continued to transpire in the game, g4 was never really a threat. So I played my knight back to e7. He played g5, and my mistake now was playing my knight to f5. Everything in my bones was screaming to play h5. I could have just played h5, and my position I think is better than his. I have maybe some two, maybe -2 or something advantage, but after playing my knight to f5, he had the option of attacking immediately and trying to take advantage of it, and I was really fearing a knight jump into f6, but as it turns out, it had no venom in it. So I played my knight back to f8, defending, because as David Howell says, knight on f8, there is no mate. So I played my rook to d7. He took, I took back, and he played his knight f to g5. So here I took with my bishop, he took back, played rook to d8, and played queen to d2, which is a very huge mistake. And the engine gives this line where after rook takes on d4, queen takes, rook takes, we can play g6, bishop back to b1, knight to d6, uh, knight to f3, knight to f5, rook g4, king f8, and we'd have this position where it's really hard to evaluate for a human being. If you're stockfish, this is probably the easiest position you could ever play, but I didn't calculate this far, and I didn't see this line, but I thought it was nice to show this line, a very brilliant engine line. So I played f5, and he played his queen to f4, and I think this was the decisive mistake in the game. And from here, I really converted this game brilliantly. I was playing perfect chess in my conversion. Once I got the advantage, I feel like I converted my games brilliantly in this tournament, and that was a very big motivation for me, and it was something that I really took note of, and I saw myself really improving in that manner. So after rook takes, he thought he had bishop to h7 check, but in this case you're going to lose the bishop and the knight, because If you do nothing after knight takes on h7, if you do nothing, your queen is hanging because my rook is attacking it. So you really have to trade. You have to take my rook, and I take your knight, and two knights versus a rook is completely winning for the side that has the knights. So he played his rook to f8, because what else are you going to do? Everything is going to be attacked in this position. So he played his king to f1. I jumped in with my knight. He offered a queen trade, which I declined. Played his rook to d1, and I played my other knight to f5, chasing his queen away. Played queen check. I went up, and he offered the trade, which I took, and took on e4. Took on e5 with my knight. And as you're going to see, these knights are going to play rather a very important role in this game, because they are going to defend the entire board from where they stand. What do I mean? Played rook to b7, and I played my knight to d4, defending my b5 pawn. This other knight defends the f7 pawn, and eventually these knights are going to also defend each other, and they're going to really dominate the board. So after king e1, I started coming in with my king, pushed before so that I could release my d4 knight from where it stood, and I played my knight back to f4, and the game continued in this fashion, where in this position you might think that f4 is, and I was really scared after I saw f4, because I thought I was just going to lose my knight and probably lose the game. But I had this resource of playing c2 and threatening promotion, which he had to defend, and I move my knight out of the way, and the other knight comes in. They defend each other, and from here I was just converting it really easily. So in this position, you after a knight to g5 with check, you can't really take on e5 because of this check picking up the rook, and will be completely winning. So after this check and this couple of moves, he resigned a few moves after this. He resigned around this point. Yeah, he resigned around here, and it's because after king e1, it's a forced mate, by playing knight to f3 and pushing e2 and promoting. Just the game was really gone at this point, and he had no point he had no reason to continue playing. So this was my game 4 against Kevin Jungu, and from here I was really psyched, because I was not playing on the top boards. I think I was playing on board 2 or 3, and I had already these players that you've seen from around round 2 to now round 4 were the top 3 seeds in the tournament. So I was already done playing the higher rated players, the in quotes the toughest players in the category. So I knew that I was just going to continue with the same fashion and just win the entire tournament. So we know that I didn't win the tournament. So tune in to find out what happened in the next game. Uh, Thank you if you've stayed this long. Consider subscribing, turn on the notification bell, comment, like, and please share this to everyone. Recommend it to your friends, and so that we might continue learning just together and grow the channel. And I'm also after this playlist that I'm making right now, we're going to look into openings, and I'm going to go over my favorite opening, the Spanish, the Rui Lopez. And yeah, so tune in, and I can't wait to begin this journey with you guys. And yeah, thank you for staying this. I really don't know how to finish my videos, let me just say that. So yeah.